Now to the Middle East, and Israel security forces are carrying out a major operation in the occupied West Bank. Palestinian health officials say at least 9 people were killed in a string of early morning large-scale raids. For the first time in decades, the incursion targeted several cities in the West Bank simultaneously. This video shows Palestinians assessing the damage in Jenin, where Israel's army has reportedly surrounded the city and sealed off exits. Israeli security forces say they were carrying out a counter-terrorism operation, and Sasha Petrusik is leading our coverage in Israel. He's joining us now from northern Israel. And Sasha, what do we know about this latest Israeli operation?
Well, as you say, it was one of the biggest, most complex operations that we've seen in the West Bank in a very long time. It targeted 2 of the most volatile cities in the West Bank, Jenin and Tulkarm. There are refugee camps that are near those cities as well, which are often considered by the Israelis as being the centers of violent resistance, again, from their perspective. The operation today involved helicopters and drones. It also involved special forces on the ground, bulldozers to seal off areas, including a hospital. And it started at midnight, and it's really it still seems to be going on because there are still explosions and gunshots being heard in the refugee camps. Things in Jenin seem to be winding down, but the other areas are still very much part of this operation. The Israeli military is saying that this was in response to an immediate threat to Israeli civilians, that suggesting there were going to be some sort of attacks. 9 people were killed. They're part of Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and they were all shot or targeted by the drones by the Israeli military. So we don't know whether any Israeli soldiers were injured or killed in all of this. But as I say, this is unusual, and it does mark quite an escalation in the operations of the Israeli military in the West Bank, but also, if what they're saying is true, quite an escalation in what's going on among the Palestinian militant groups, such as Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad.
Unusual indeed, and it's been decades, in fact, since this sort of violence has been seen in the West Bank. So do we have any sort of indication as to why this operation is taking place now?
Yeah, this has really escalated. The level of confrontation and violence has really escalated since last October, when the war in Gaza started. The Israelis say that this is because Iran is trying to finance these groups, trying to push them forward, trying to help open a third front, in effect, against Israel, not only in Gaza, not only with Hezbollah in the north, up here along the Lebanese border, but now in the West Bank as well, to put more pressure on Israel and to make it more difficult to fight on 3 fronts. Now, in response, the Israeli government hasn't said much officially, but the foreign minister, Israel Katz, did say, he suggested that the way to handle this was, in fact, similar to what's going on in Gaza, to actually clear out Palestinians from some of these areas, like Jenin and like Tulkarm. This would be extremely controversial and would probably make the situation much worse. But he is one of the more hardline members of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet. So this is the kind of debate that is now going on here, as many politicians are looking at the West Bank and fearing the same sorts of things that they are fearing from the north, and certainly in Gaza.
All right, Sasha Petrusik for us, leading our coverage in Israel this morning, joining us from northern Israel. Thank you, Sasha.